I don't care about being politically correct at this point. President Obama, you don't love America.
Al Sharpton, you don't care about black people.
Joining us now is that young conservative superstar, C.J. Pearson.
Hey guys, C.J. Pearson here.
Because I believe strongly in the values of limited government, freedom, liberty, and personal responsibility.
Your parents are both Democrats.
Yes.
How'd you fall so far from the tree?
We don't want you, Jesse Jackson.
You don't care about their lives. Hey guys, CJ Pearson here. Today I wanted to dive into the issue of Common Core. Now, today I took my final grade exam, which was completely overhauled to be aligned with the Common Core standards, and I can tell you that I am completely infuriated. Not only have I never, ever taken a test so irrelevant yet so overly complicated, but I've never taken a test that lacked so much individualization that it really made no sense to me as a learner that I am, but also to any other student in the classroom. See, Common Core operates on the false assumption that every student learns the same way. Well, it's just not true. I learn differently than Cheyenne learns differently than Juliana, and well, Juliana learns differently than Santos. And it's just the truth. Everyone is their own individual. Everyone embodies different characteristics that make them who they are. And one size just doesn't fit all. And when you have a government takeover of really anything, it's bound to fail. It's bound to fail because there's too many cooks in the kitchen, to say the very least. Not only, like I said, not only was the test overly complicated, but it was so irrelevant. If we want to get kids staying in school to stay in school and get them more interested in what we're learning, then well, guess what? We need to make the standards relevant to what they need to know when they leave high school, when they grow up, and when they get out of their mama's house and their daddy's house, wherever they're living. We need to teach personal finance. We need to teach how to pay taxes. We need to teach how to balance a budget. A lesson clearly some of our members of Congress didn't learn in high school. Kids, we care about these things. Why? Because we want to be successful when we leave our mama's house. We don't want to live in that basement for years to come. We're independent. Millennials are independent. We want to be that independent generation. Why won't you let us? See, here's the thing. Ever since 3rd grade, I've been taught to work smarter and not harder. And this test goes completely opposite of what I've been taught for so many years. What is the point of teaching me 50 different ways of how to multiply 2 times 2 when I only need to know one way? Does it make any sense? It doesn't. And that is the problem with these standards. They're overcomplicated, they're irrelevant to me, and guess what? They're the very definition of ineffective governance when the government gets involved. And they think they know what's best for you. Guess what? The Washington bureaucrats that design this test, they don't know me. They don't know who I am. They don't know how I learn. They've never met me. But guess what? My teachers do. My parents do. They know how I learn. They know how I adapt in the classroom. And they know what's best for my education. Why don't we treat it like it is? Parents know what's best for us. Let them be the parents and let them carve our education the way they want us to. And let's put more individualization in the classroom so kids actually want to learn, so they're actually excited to come to school every day. And they don't want to leave. They don't want to drop out. Kids really do want to get their education. But when you teach us all this unnecessary crap, we're sick and tired of it. And I speak for almost every single person in public school right now when I say we are sick and tired of it. That's the only word to describe it. The only phrase to describe it. We need change. And this isn't change, but this is more of the same. More of the same that will also fail. Washington, states, and hopefully local government, listen up. Kids, it's time for us to speak up too. Common Core is not for us. We don't like it. Let's speak up about it. And let's return our education back to the local level where people, well, they actually know my name other than the numbers on their computer screen.
My name is Gerald Hankerson. I am the president of the Seattle-King County NAACP branch, as well as I'm the president of the states of Alaska, Oregon, and Washington. And first, we'd like to welcome all of you to come in here to the NAACP to talk about an issue that we consider incredibly important. And from our perspective, we just want to let you know that we oppose SBAC. It is the position of the Seattle-King County branch of the NAACP to come out against the Smarter Balanced Assessment Test, commonly referred to SBAC. We are aware and know that our students of color are disproportionately underfunded and will disproportionately be labeled failing by the new SBAC test. For this reason, we view the opt-out movement as a vital component of the Black Lives Matter movement and other struggles for social justice in our region. Using standardized tests to label black people and immigrants in lesser while systematically underfunding their schools has a long and ugly history in our country. It is true we need accountability measures, as we all know, but that should start with politicians being accountable to fully funding education and ending the opportunity gap. I would like to introduce our education chair, Ms. Rita Green, and she will state to you the full intentions of what our position is on the reason why we oppose SBAC, and we're calling on all parents to opt out and opt out now. Rita.
Hi, and I'm Rita Green. I'm the education chair for Seattle-King County branch of NAACP, and I'm going to read the position that I put together for SBAC. And that is, it is the position of the Seattle-King County branch of the NAACP to come out against the Smarter Balance Assessment, commonly referred to as SBAC. Seattle and Washington State public schools are not supplied with proper resources, and a lack of equity within our schools continue to exist. The state of Washington cannot hold teachers responsible for the outcome of student test results when these very students are attending schools in a state that ranks 47th out of 50 states in the nation when it comes to funding education. That is the third lowest in the US. Furthermore, Washington State cannot expect for the majority of students to perform well on an increased targeted performance assessment while the state continues to underfund education in direct violation of Washington State Supreme Court order. The cost tied to the test this year is approximately $200 million. If the state really wants students to achieve academic performance at higher levels, these dollars should be put in our classrooms and used for our children's academic achievement improvement instead of putting dollars in the pockets of test developers. We urge families to opt out of SBAC tests and to contact their local and state officials, advising them to abide by the Supreme Court decision, McCleary Act. Thank you.
The speaker.
Sorry about that.
Technical difficulties again.
Okay. All right. Again, this is written for the folks fighting Common Core, but it applies to everything that's going on in the country today. Passion of Christ, strengthen us. Strengthen us under the pressure of temptation. Strengthen us when principle is at stake. Strengthen us to do your will, dear Lord. Strengthen us in moments of suffering, in times of loneliness, in periods of depression. Strengthen us that we may serve from you, dear Christ. No, excuse me. Strengthen us that we may never swerve from you, dear Lord, nor weaken through human respect, through a desire to be popular, through hope of social distinction. Strengthen us to accept our cross and carry it generously to the end. On the battlefield of life, stand by us that we may never prove a traitor in the ranks. Stand by us that we may not be dazzled by the glitter and glow of the enemy camp. And give us the strength, wisdom, courage, and patience to do your will in all things. In Jesus the Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, caller, call back. We don't interrupt that.
No, we don't interrupt the prayer. Those two, till the caller calls us back, the two videos are, they kind of explain what's going on. I was shocked when I first watched the NAACP one, but I think more people are starting to wake up. I think, and I'm not talking about just us, but I'm talking about organizations like the NAACP, where they're starting to figure out that, hey, all these years we've not been getting what we should get, and this program here makes it even worse. I mean, we talk each week, time and time again, about everywhere we go, we run into people. I mean, I know Tom and I were at the Erase Common Core rally last Wednesday, and we got to meet a lot of people from around the state, and just sitting on Facebook and watching these parents groups, you hear the endless stories. I had a straight A student last year. Now I have a failing student this year.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna relate something. I told Tom and them I had the blessing of having two of my grandchildren at the house, and my grandson was sitting on the bed with me last night, and he put his hands up and he said, "Look, Grandpa, I have 10 fingers." And I said, "You don't have 10 fingers." And he looked at me, "Yeah, I got 10 fingers." And I said, "No, you don't have 10 fingers." And he thinks, and then he goes, "Oh, I have 4 fingers." He says, "So I have 4 fingers over here, 4 fingers over here, that makes 8. This is a 4-year-old. And then he went like this, "And I have 2 thumbs." You know, this is why I go and do what I do. He's precious. He's 4 years old, smart as a whip. I was teasing him about something, and he said to me, this is 4 years old now, he said to me, "Grandpa, you're being facetious." And he understands what that word means. And I'm going, I cracked up. The wife came in the bedroom, and she's going like, "What's so funny?" But you know what?
Well, Common Core will stop that.
And that's what my fear is. This is a brilliant young, not just because it's my grandson, but he reads a book. There's a book, you know, not the big reading, but he reads the whole book. He knows every page and what's on it. What's going to happen to him when he gets into kindergarten and first grade?
Yeah.
I don't think anything, because his mom's already homeschooling the 13-year-old granddaughter.
Good.
And the other one's at LSU. And you know, the ironic thing is he's at LSU and he understands about all the liberals. But the thing is that when you watch that and you watch the SBAC test, which is the other test besides Park, people are starting to realize these tests are not there to find out how well our students are doing. The other thing that I found out today, and I haven't told you this, John Schroeder, our friend John, told Terry in New Orleans that John White told him that he wants to stay here another 4 years. Oh, you know what? Election time, October, we got to take over the Betsy board. I'm telling you, that is our only way away from some of this stuff.
Yep. Or the new governor.
Well,
Because he's going to have to reaffirm the appointees like White.
Does the guy in Washington that does the press conference say, "We don't have a comment on that"?
Yeah. Okay.
We need to go to highlights and what's going on.
Yep,
huh?
meeting tomorrow night, Freedom Forum meeting tomorrow night at Lacey's at 6:30. And then Ray Green's having his constitutional study class, which will have one of the sheriff's candidates speaking
Garber.
Saturday morning, Garber, and y'all need to really put him on the spot. Ask him some tough questions.
Well, the first two.
Yeah, the first two got to ask some tough questions.
Two
so-
got asked some pretty tough questions. Hartwell was all your fault.
That's all right, do it again. Then the Acadiana Patriots are meeting next Thursday. I'll let Jim talk about that.
Okay, next Thursday, the 14th at 6 o'clock. Tried to get some speakers last minute, but didn't get it done. I wrote in the event description, now is the time to get off the couch and get involved. The legislative session is in session. I don't know how to put that. and lots of activity. We will give updates on pertinent education bills and others. Everyone is hearing rumors about Jade Helm 15 training. Tom Parker will fill us in on what we know and don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Mostly what we don't know.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of rumors again.
Also, we'll have updates from people who attended the Erase Common Core rally, which was a success. Jim Crumling will be giving a presentation on Saul Alinsky's rules for radicals. I felt that this was an important thing to do.
Especially now. They're using that as their guidebook now, and you see it more and more in the things.
If you understand the rules, Saul Alinsky's rules of radicals, you understand what's going on when they say things like, only a few teachers complained.
Yeah.
You know, that's the type of thing you hear. We will share several new videos pertaining to the present issues. The chairmen of the Senate and House Education Committees have said they will kill any Common Core bills brought to them. They pulled all Common Core bills from the agenda on the day of the rally. But the red shirts made their presence known at the committee meeting. Your presence is needed at this meeting to help fight the fight. God bless. We really need to do and you need to get involved. You got it. It's time.
Okay, I'm going to launch into something I sent out today, and I went and forgot to write down. I'm having an old age
Domestic
fit.
Surveillance Directory.
Well, this is not the government code name for this operation, but it's on the
Wasn't it on
the initial
bottom
email.
of the data sheet?
No, it's not on the bottom of this.
Hey.
This is the NSA.gov1.info/data website. This is the NSA Domestic Surveillance Directorate. That's the National Security Agency, folks, the guys that are eavesdropping on you. Well, the beginning of this, your data, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear.
I don't hide anything because I don't fear.
Our value is founded on a unique, and this is them talking here, the government.
That was me talking.
Our value is founded on a unique and deep understanding of risks, vulnerabilities, mitigations, and threats. Domestic surveillance plays a vital role in our national security by using advanced data mining systems to connect the dots to identify suspicious patterns. Sounds good, doesn't it? Well, wait. Further down on this page, they have sample collection data in real time. The PRISM program is our #1 source of raw intelligence.
Prison?
PRISM.
Oh, I thought it was prison.
PRISM, no, PRISM, P-R-I-S-M, is our #1 source of raw intelligence and consists of data extracted from the servers of 9 major American internet companies.
How many major internet companies are there?
Probably 9. In a spirit of openness and transparency, we have embedded the Twitter feed from the NSA_PRISM bot, which periodically posts random samples of PRISM collection data. And it has a scrolling setup here which is updated, because when I put this on, when we got here an hour ago, it was 1 hour ago that they posted the first in this scroll, or the last one. You know, the top is the first, or is the last. The first is the last when you're doing this computer BS. 2 hours ago, Betty Stoltenberg, one of Thetford, Michigan, uploaded a video called Capacities to YouTube. This is your government at work doing this. And go on down here, and there's more of the same similar type of stuff. They give about 20 different ones. And we get down here to at Roberta966, flag with, what do you call those things, stars, all kind of stars and flags, because Roberta966 mentioned, quote, suspicious package / device, unquote, on Twitter, flag. Okay. Then further down here, we got another flag. Flag, Nikki C631 mentioned, quote, industrial spill on Twitter. Flag, and it says expand. So I expand it, and it says one retweet.
Hey, by the way, your phones are really busy. I've been trying to call for 20 minutes, and I just got through.
There haven't been anybody on our phone.
Oh, well, guess what? They've been busy every time I read dial.
Well, they did that once before.
But, today, Rush actually talked about people going to the bathroom and whispering in each other's ears because people were listening. And I went to that website that was sent out today that you're talking about, and guess what? I want a trip to the Caribbean.
Oh, it didn't come up to this website, huh?
No, I got a trip to the Caribbean, but they wanted all my personal info and everything.
I got you.
I wasn't quite sure. It may have been Gitmo. And by the way, do you know that anti-gun people in Texas carry guns, so maybe that helped that little incident over there?
Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But just want to tell you, your phones have been locked for the last 21 minutes now.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so look, enjoy it, thank you, and good luck, guys.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Here's another flag. Chanel 933 mentioned, quote, service disruption on Twitter, unquote. Service disruption got her flagged, or whoever Chanel 933 is. Excuse me? This is the kind of, load more. Let's see
This is what we're paying.
This is what you're paying.
Taxpayers' money.
Yeah, this is what you're paying for these bureaucrats.
Man, some dangerous stuff in there.
Yeah. And, you can tweet to at NSA _ Prism with capitals, Prism all capitalized, bot, B-O-T.
I got Twitter.
Okay? Because it said load more, and I did, and that's what it came up. Tweet to. This is your government at work, folks. And again, if you didn't get this, if you're not on my email list, email me. There it is. Y'all don't. So I don't guess y'all care what I'm talking about here.
Nobody ever emails me back.
No, I never get emails back from the show, except for people that are already on the list. There's a few. We've had, in the last couple of years, I think 3 people have signed on from the show. I think it's about that. The name of the operation is Main Core, C-O-R-E. Wait, Common Core.
Main Core.
And the NSA's thing is Main Core. You think there's a...
I'm not going to comment. I'm really not going to comment, because then we'll shut down the show.
If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear from your government. It ain't mine. Anyway.
I got a call from the IRS today.
Oh, well. You must rate. Now, Federal Appeals Court has upheld the gun ban in U.S. 7th Court of Appeals, upheld the ban allowing a Chicago area gun and magazine ban to stand. They're justifiable on the court because of the basis that they, quote, may increase the public's sense of safety. The case, Friedman versus Highland Park, was filed in 2013 to invalidate a city ordinance that banned assault weapons or large capacity magazines, those that can accept more than 10 rounds. And the court upheld the Nazis' decision because it can increase the public's, may increase the public's sense of safety. Now, the last time I checked, the public sense of safety was not a legal term. Last time I checked, but I may be
outdated.
Maybe outdated, yes. I may be archaic, etc. All right. Before we get to what happened in Garland, Texas, we'll talk briefly about Jade Helm and Congressman Louis Gohmert from Texas released the following statement about the Jade Helm exercises scheduled to take place in Texas and various other states. Over the past few weeks, my office has been inundated with calls referring to this exercise scheduled to take place between July 15th and September 15th of this year. This military practice has some concern that the Army is preparing for modern-day martial law. Certainly I can understand these concerns when leaders within the current administration believe that major threats to the country include those who support the Constitution. Our military veterans, or even cling to guns or religion, patriotic Americans have reason to be concerned. We have seen people working in this administration to use their government positions to persecute people with conservative beliefs in God, country, and notions such as honor and self-reliance. Because of the contempt and antipathy for the true patriots or even Christian saints persecuted for their Christian beliefs, it's no surprise that those who have experienced or noted such persecution are legitimately suspicious. Having served in the U.S. Army, I can understand why military officials have a goal to see if groups of special forces can move around a civilian population without being noticed and can handle various threat scenarios. In military science class or in my years on active duty, I participated in or observed military exercises. However, we never named an existing city or state as hostile.
Yes.
We would use fictitious names before we do such a thing. And he brings up a good point that I'd forgotten. When they were doing the major exercises at Fort Polk, they had a map of where they were. Louisiana would be figured in prominent, but not as Louisiana. A piece of it would be carved out and would be called some fictitious name. It wouldn't be called Louisiana. That's not what they're doing now.
That's what's interesting.
Oklahoma is Oklahoma, Texas is Texas, Utah is Utah. And they're given levels of hostility in the Army map. This is the first time that I can recall seeing that, now that he mentioned this. Back to Congressman Gohmert, once I observed the map depicting hostile, permissive, and uncertain states and locations, I was rather appalled that the hostile areas amazingly have a Republican majority, cling to their guns and religion, and believe in the sanctity of the United States Constitution. When the federal government begins, even in practice, games or exercises to consider any U.S. city or state in hostile control and trying to retake it, the message becomes extremely calloused and suspicious. Such labeling tends to make people who have grown leery of federal government overreach become suspicious of whether their big brother government anticipates certain states may start another civil war or be overtaken by foreign radical Islamist elements, which have been reported to be just across our border. And by the way, that's not just reports.
No, I actually have a printout.
They have been confirmed by several sources.
71 of them in 15 different states.
Well, that's them. No, that's them saying that. That's ISIS or alleged ISIS saying that they have that.
I don't know. 2 of them just took out some people.
Well, that was afterward, but that's another story we'll get to. Such labeling tends to make people who have grown leery of federal government overreach become suspicious of whether their big brother government anticipates certain states may start another civil war or be overtaken by, I've said that already, overtaken by foreign radical Islamist elements which have been reported to be just across our border. Such labeling by a government that is normally not allowed to use military force against its own citizens is an affront to the residents of that particular state considered as hostile, as if the government is trying to provoke a fight with them. The map of the exercise needs to change, the names on the map need to change, and the tone of the exercise needs to be completely revamped so that the federal government is not intentionally practicing war against its own states. Congressman Gohmert is the Vice Chair of the Judiciary Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, and Homeland Security, Chairman of the National Resources Subcommittee on Oversight and Investigations. He was a district judge elected to 3 terms in Smith County, Texas, and appointed by Governor Rick Perry to complete a term as Chief Justice of the 12th Court of Appeals.
Speaking of Homeland Security, what did that guy say today?
I don't know, what did he say?
Well, he has to look out for the plight of the Muslims.
Oh, I didn't realize he just said that. I thought he'd said that a while back.
Oh, yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday, okay.
What?
Huh?
Huh?
Look out for the plight of the Muslims. Let's see, the plight of the Muslims.
What about the Americans?
When's the
Isn't that
last
his
time?
job?
When's the last time I heard of Muslims being persecuted because they were Muslims?
Yeah.
I mean, persecuted like they are here in the United States. When the IRS comes to take a look at them, have there been any Muslim imams that have been called before some IRS committee, commission, what you call it? Not that we know of. Just because they're Muslims. Let me think about this notion of them being persecuted in this country. This term Islamophobia is bogus. First of all, that means afraid of Islamists. And we're not afraid of them. I don't know of anybody who is afraid of them. I know of people that are concerned, as we have mentioned, and with what just happened in Garland, Texas, well, come on, now this thing is acting up. Okay, we're going to try something different here. I wanted to go to the governor's letter that we received firsthand from the Texas State Guard. Texas State Guard has been put on alert by the governor of Texas to monitor the Jade Helm exercise for the duration.
Yeah, but Perry don't like that.
No, the ex-governor doesn't like the fact that this has happened. Too bad. Perry is a rhino. Perry has shown that he is not a true American, much less a true Texan. And believe me, being a true American is not nearly as powerful as being a true Texan. Not these days. In fact, when we secede, we're going to join Texas. I just haven't officially joined them yet. Now, if this thing's not going to cooperate, well, maybe it'll come up. If it does.
Are you surprised?
No, not especially in light of the phone problem. Somebody's messing with us potentially, especially after staying on that NSA website so long.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the tweet I just did.
Yeah, well, hey, he sent a tweet to that government website and said that it was good
Nice
job.
website,
Nice
NSA.
website, NSA, yeah. They followed you back here, you swine. They know you're here.
Let's see if they answered.
Yeah, right. Now, in light of what happened in Garland, Texas, there's a lot of hoopty-doo that's being put out by the left-wingers on that. Now, there is some question about the overall tenor of that. And what's interesting is there have been several of these international incidents, I should say incidents in other countries, including this one, where the authorities had forewarning through their monitoring of these people's social media things, whatever things they were doing. In fact, there were some even on one of the clowns that was killed on Sunday in Garland, Texas. But before I talk about Garland, Texas, let me read you an article that's very appropriate for this time by Mike Wood out of America's First Freedom May edition, entitled What Cops Know About Lone Wolves That Most People Do Not. A spate of terror attacks by solo actors has sent politicians and the media into something of a frenzy about so-called lone wolf terrorists. The hysteria is building almost daily. Nervous government officials wring their hands and struggle to devise a coherent strategy for dealing with this threat that they're no longer able to ignore. Last October, Senator Feinstein said, quote, "I believe the FBI is making every effort to stay on top of this lone wolf phenomenon. I think the White House is cognizant of it and is working very hard to see that we have the ability to be able to find them and stop them," unquote. Okay. We're going to leave that there for now. This will explain why that's bogus. While a lone wolf threat may perplex some politicians, it's a familiar story to street cops who deal with solo attackers every day. They call them criminals. So here are three truths about lone wolves that all street cops know. Now, you need to take this to heart, folks, especially in light of what happened Sunday in Garland. Number one, playing whack-a-mole is not a credible strategy. It's appealing to contemplate tracking down lone wolves and intercepting them before they strike, but this is not television, especially 24 Hour, which was a bogus and extremely bogus television series produced back in about 92, close on the heels of the 9/11 false flag. Officials may bring all the bad guys to justice inside of an hour each week, but in the real world it takes a massive amount of time, money, personnel, and resources to do it. We certainly need a capability to, quote, go hunting, but that cannot be the cornerstone of a national defense strategy as Feinstein proposes. Now, I don't know what this author means by certainly need a capability to go hunting, in quotes. What does he mean by go hunting? That bothers me. However,
hunting what?
We'll go further into this. This is true for several reasons. First, ferreting out solo actors is incredibly difficult, and doing so places a significant drain on scarce resources. We've spent billions, perhaps trillions of dollars on things like the risk-based air marshal program and NSA eavesdropping. Oh, really? But none of it helped to stop the shoe bomber, Fort Hood shooter, or the Oklahoma beheader. Yeah. Even if we do single out one or two crazies, how can we predict the what, when, where, how? Okay. Further, there are significant civil liberties issues at play. Yeah, exactly. Our legal system presupposes innocence, well, it used to, and protects individual privacy and rights, well, it used to, thankfully. So there are legal complications associated with preemptive law enforcement action that makes this strategy problematic. Well, it's not for lack of trying. We'll come back to that. Number two, you can't be everywhere. Cops instinctively understand you cannot be everywhere at once. When a criminal strikes, you're not likely to find a cop within reach. That's actually part of what made it a good target. There are people in our government who don't get this. They're convinced that they just add more security or conduct more pat-downs of the elderly and children, they'll find all the prohibited items and detect all threats.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, guys. You got great music playing, Necessary Evil. I don't know who that is, but I'd like to know. Good song playing in the background. Hey, what are the odds of a guy with a pistol taking two guys out with rifles?
Well, we're going.
It's kind of strange here.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, but just the odds of that, a guy with a pistol gets shot in the ankle and he takes two guys out. Do you believe that wasn't snipers that took them out?
No, that wasn't the same guy. The guy that got shot was an unarmed security guard. The guy that shot him was a traffic cop of 50-some years old. Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
Again, but that had to be a sniper shot. So, okay, sorry.
Okay.
But there's music playing?
That's what he said. Do we have any? Now, I got old age hearing, but I don't hear any.
See if it's on the TV out there.
Well, there's no sound out there, I don't think.
Oh.
He could turn it up. He may be able to figure it out. Okay. There are legal complications associated with preemptive law enforcement action that make the strategy problematic. Yeah, okay, I said that. You can't be everywhere. I'm going to find my marks here. The answer is always more for the government. We need more money, more personnel, more surveillance, and more powers, which may be what's going on with this stuff like what happened in Garland. But we're going to come talk to that. Cops know it's a losing game because they've arrived just a minute too late, way too many times to buy that. They know that every net is full of holes. The first real responders are already on the scene. Cops understand that the first responder on every scene is the public. In the critical moments during and after an attack, members of the public are on their own to defend, chase away, pursue, secure, save, and rescue. Uniformed personnel will bring superior skills, training, and equipment to the fight when they get there, but there will always be a delay. As such, cops know and respect the value of an armed citizen in thwarting criminal violence. They know that crime drops in areas where citizens are armed and spikes in areas where they are disarmed. There's no music coming out of here. Huh.
We checked it back here.
Yeah. I don't know what the deal is going on here. It might be them, the folks that had that website I went to might be messing with us. Yeah, no kidding, there's a problem loading the message list. Jeez, criminy. Try again. Best way, cops know, they know the best way to ensure public is defended from aggressors and to empower the public to defend themselves. Instead of promoting concealed carry training and reform, such as national reciprocity for concealed carry licenses, Feinstein has spent a career trying to disarm the public and turn them into helpless sheep, dependent upon their beneficent government for protection. That government is not likely to be on the scene for the sheep when lone wolves strike. Cops know that the best defense against a lone wolf is a sheepdog in the form of a trained and armed public. And we would all be a lot safer if our mainstream media and politicians used that as a starting point in their efforts to thwart these attacks. Well, like I mentioned earlier, there's some questions starting to come up about these incidents where there was some kind of advanced warning.
There's too many of them.
And, well, no, that's to be expected, and actually I expected more than has already started happening. But this is playing into the hands of the government from the standpoint of, well, we got to spend more money. We got to have more power. We got to stop these people before they attack, etc. Now, there was warnings that these guys were coming to that particular event, not to mention the fact that that event had already turned itself into a target by what they were going to do. In two ways, one of which you have not heard very much about, and that was that they had a Danish conservative, if you will, right-winger, extreme right-winger, some of them are calling him, speaking. And this guy has been arrested and imprisoned for, quote, hate speech, unquote, in his native Denmark and in other countries in Europe. Because you see, in Europe, they can't talk bad about certain things and certain people. There's the Holocaust denier law, that you cannot deny that anything that has been establishment settled about the so-called Holocaust, i.e. the Nazi German pogroms against the Jews and other folks during World War II, before and during World War II. You cannot question the official line about what happened, either the numbers of people or how it happened, what happened, etc. Can't be questioned. You've got to accept the established party line, Sig Heil, or go to jail. Now, we've talked about this problem before. They do not have a Bill of Rights like we have. And certainly their idea of freedom of speech, oh, they're so free over there. Well, over here we're supposed to be free, but we have this thing called the media that when somebody violates their notion of what should be spoken about publicly, then they jump all over those people, like they did the woman who planned and executed the event in Garland, Texas, where they did, they had the cartoon contest, but they also had this guy speaking about the lack of freedom of speech in Europe on certain things, okay? Well, they've got the ultra left-wing communist organization called the Southern Poverty Law Center that has branded these people all kinds of things. They branded them with all kinds of dirty names. And I'm sure that had he still been keeping up with his stuff about us, then we would also be on that list. But we are no longer on that list. We used to be, okay, 20 years ago. The problem is that, once again, political correctness is running rampant in certain ways. The debate now, you've even got the likes of Bill O'Reilly. Oh, excuse me, we don't like him anyway, most of the time. O'Reilly has jumped in and said that these people should not speak badly about the Muslims or Mohammedanism because it will incite them to be upset.
Really?
Well, too bad. Okay? The same reason that I told you what I've told you on this program and will continue to tell you what I will tell you on this program is the same reason that that woman held that conference with that Danish chap speaking his mind. It's called information. If you don't accept the information that you are given, that's up to you. But in order to be well-rounded, to be educated as an American, you need to have as much information as possible. And right now, Mohammedanism is a force to be reckoned with, basically across the globe. And the more you understand about it, the better off you will be. The better off you will be able to decide who you will listen to when it comes to politicians, etc. Now, just because it's sensitive, just because somebody doesn't like what we're saying, we're not going to say it? I don't think so. These people have too thin a skin. These Mohammedans, if you draw a cartoon or a picture of Mohammed or any other of their prophets, they get upset and they want to kill you. Well, what's wrong with this picture, folks? Did we call for, and the same example has been used by good people here lately, did we call for the hanging of the individual that got paid U.S. government money to display a crucifix in a jar of urine in an art project funded by the National Endowment for the Arts? Did we call for that individual to be hung, to be beheaded, to be shot down in the streets like a dog? No. We just said government money went to fund this thing. What's wrong with this picture? A whole lot's wrong with that picture, but we didn't call for this individual. This was not a capital offense.
Well, later on, we'll have another comparison later.
But the bottom line is, folks, and the Fox people, I'll give them credit for this to a great extent. They have said some things about Article 1 of the Bill of Rights that is spot on, including their left-wing tokens, okay? Their closet left-wingers have said that Article 1 is to protect speech that the minority puts out, but that the majority disagrees with. And that's the purpose. The Bill of Rights is to protect the minority, not the majority. This is not a democracy. The Bill of Rights determines that this is not a democracy. So I don't care if 99.9% of the people out there don't like what I say. I don't care if everybody out there does not like what I say. It does not matter as long as I'm not calling for illegal activity. Okay?
Unlawful activity.
Unlawful activity. Well, illegal too. They'll get you for illegal activity and claim that you're not allowed to say that. But unlawful is what's unconstitutional, folks. And by that token, anything that there is no crime if there is no victim. That's bottom line. Megyn Kelly she supported the lady and went up against Bill O'Reilly. Yeah, I saw those.
Oh yeah, she really went up against
now,
him.
Is it socially acceptable? Not necessarily. I may have fewer people watching this show because of what I've said, but do you think I care? No, because I don't know how many people are watching the show to begin with. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to get ratings. We're here to present the truth. Okay?
What did somebody say? We have a reality show.
We've got a yeah, I've said that. This is real. This is a reality show in the true definition of reality. There is no producer, no writer, except me. And him now. And the guys that help with the research. Do what? And we got another producer on here. Oh, you're okay. The bottom line, folks, is in a democracy of 2 wolves and 1 sheep, guess who gets voted to be lunch? But in a republic with a Bill of Rights, the sheep has Article 2 that decides that he won't be lunch. Bottom line. Now, this is what happened in Garland, Texas. Officially, as the caller earlier was alluding to, there's something fishy. And here's what I read on one report, an early report that I have not seen it anywhere else. I have not seen it on television. I saw it in a newspaper report, one of the early ones, was that first of all, it was a security guard, an unarmed security guard that was shot in the heel, or in the ankle. Then
It says ignore.
No, that's not the same thing.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello there?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hurry up.
I noticed, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, but New York City has decided, that the federal government, I'll go a little story short, the federal government has taken over New York City's law system, the Department of Justice says, just like they've done in Baltimore. The federal government has federalized the police department in New York now. So
I hadn't heard that.
I haven't heard that.
Baltimore, New York.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Other cities, tell us I'm wrong, that the federal government has taken over. So this is going to, in all probability, keep spreading. So what's the likely outcome? Federal control of police departments throughout the rate we're going, it's going to take a little while. We don't know. Things move fast. Can the federal government take over all the police departments?
No.
Only if the sheriff lets them.
No, they don't have the people to take over all police departments, but they can try the important ones.
But I hadn't heard New York City or Baltimore being taken over by the
I heard that they
government.
wanted to take it over Baltimore, but they hadn't done it yet, as far as I knew. They may have. There's stuff happening so fast with this garbage that we just have to watch and see.
Well, what it is, the DOJ, the Department of Justice, has put guidelines up for these so-called corrupt police forces. The police now have been identified as the problem, not the people who break the law, but the police who enforce the law. I got it right? They're bad-mouthing the police throughout the country, trying to find them doing something wrong, and there's an attack on the police departments throughout the country, trying to undermine authority and undermine the police departments. So the federal government can take over the police departments. Tell if this is going on, and I'll shut up and hang up. Okay, thank you, bye.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that may or may not be going on.
We have no confirmation.
No confirmation of that, okay? We have none. Now, tomorrow morning, we may wake up and find out there is. But let me finish this thought. The thing that I heard one time was that the initial traffic cop that opened fire, that's been given credit for killing both of the bad guys, opened fire on them and apparently hit both of them, but the SWAT team arrived at about the same time as he had knocked them down and proceeded to open fire on them too. So this may be what has happened, and they've decided that they're going to be quiet about that and give that older traffic cop credit for shooting both those guys, rather than telling anybody that, well, it was the SWAT team, and the SWAT team arrived. SWAT team arrived awfully quickly, but they were alerted. The police were alerted that something probably was going to happen. So, but there again, it goes back to, first of all, the actual event, what they were doing there, and the fact that this would be a likely target. And secondly, the so-called, what do you call that garbage? The media, the social media stuff that these guys had been putting out. You know, some of these people had already told the world that they were going to do what they were going to do. And apparently it was allowed to happen, allowed to go through. So they were on alert. The word that I heard early on was that Garland, Texas was on alert for this.